Good morning, students. So this is going to be talking about our speeches that are coming up. Sorry. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to start brainstorming what different topics we can choose for our speeches. I know that you guys have done this a whole bunch of times before, um, at least 2 times, but maybe more. So we need to. Sorry, I have a bit of a cough. We need to think about what sort of speeches we could have. Um, Now, there's going to be a temptation, which happens every single time we talk about this, is students get one idea in their mind, and they just really focus on that one idea, and they don't really let themselves have an opportunity to think about different ideas. So, what we're going to be doing today is you are going to be brainstorming topics for your speech, which is something that looks like this. It's kind of like a mind map. So here I have my speech. And what I'm going to say is, okay, I need to think of different topics that I could write about my speech. So maybe I want to talk about um, something like maybe exercise. I've been doing a lot of exercise lately, so maybe that's a good one to talk about. Maybe I could talk about, uh, oopsies, Canada's history in war. That could be something that's cool. Maybe I want to do something more local, something like how does recycling get processed in Canada? I could start more, even being a different sort of style. I could talk about how friendship affects you. That could be a cool one. Maybe I want to talk about something like maybe more just informative, like three natural disasters that changed the world. Okay, that could be another one. Um, the Suez Canal boat that happened a little while ago. Um, mm, those are probably some good starting points. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 ideas for what my speech could be about. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I want to look at these and think about them and say, okay, of these 6, which 3 do I think are pretty good? So I think that a good one would be exercise. That could be an interesting one. I think this one could be pretty cool. And maybe I'll talk about the Suez Canal. So here are my 3 speech topics that I'm going to spend a little bit more time sort of looking into and doing some initial research. The idea here is um, just because a topic sounds interesting doesn't mean that it's going to be necessarily a good speech topic. I should also be somewhat familiar with the topic. And this is kind of where I start sort of honing in. So essentially what we're doing is we're starting very broad. This is our brainstorm. And now we're going to think of 3 topics. And then we're going to start choosing one topic. Okay, so we're sort of narrowing down our focus to get a better and better speech. That's sort of the process that we're doing. So this is our brainstorm activity, and then we're going to go into three topics, and then we're going to eventually choose our one topic. So for today, we're going to start with this, and then we're going to move on to okay. So now I'm going to go spend a little bit more time. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to talk about the stuck in the Suez Canal, and I'm going to talk about the large boat's name. Um, what caused it to get stuck? Maybe I want to do something like, how did it eventually get moved? What was the impact this had? What now? Right. So I have a bunch of different things that I can look into. I don't necessarily have answers to these things, but this is like a good point for me to be like, okay, like if I were to actually start researching my speech, because you research before you write, obviously. These are things I could be asking myself. Okay, Canada's most famous battles. Maybe I want to talk about significant wars Canada has been in. Um, do I want to maybe talk about the impact of victory or loss? Do I want to talk about what effect it had at home? Um, maybe there's something like who was involved. Maybe I could say war heroes. Maybe there's a war hero that came about it. So this is pretty open ended. Originally, as I was thinking about, I was thinking maybe World War II. But realistically, because I've written down these ideas, this could maybe refer to the Korean War that Canada was a part of. It could be in Afghanistan. We could be talking about maybe the wars from long, long ago, like maybe World War One, World War Two. Maybe even talking about something even earlier than that. Who knows? This is sort of open ended, but this gives me a bunch of ideas of how I can start thinking about my speech. And my last one: how temperature affects the way we breathe and exercise. Um, is there specific thresholds that have negative consequences? I'm not going to write that entire word out because it's a little bit too long. Dot dot dot. Um, does it give me burn? Does it burn more calories? What do doctors say? And I can probably go some more. Okay, so now I have three general topics that I've now started to think about and say, okay, well, what would be an interesting one to do? I feel like I'm leaning towards the Suez Canal because I think it's a relevant topic that's happened recently that could be interesting to talk about. But I'm not going to decide right now because I've only just started working on this. It's only been about 10 minutes or 15 minutes of me working on my speech. I probably shouldn't decide in the first 15 minutes of this, right? So I'm going to let this sort of stew in my mind for a bit and then we're going to talk about it more on Monday. But the last thing that you're going to be doing, so the first thing was we were going to brainstorm, then we are going to spend more time on specific topics. The last thing I want you to do is each of these I would write into our grade 7 group chat. And I'd say, these are my three potential topics. And I'd say, stuck in the Suez Canal, Canada's most famous battles, and how temperature affects the way we breathe and exercise. Now, the reason we're doing this is because number one, it shows me that you're already thinking about it. Number two, it creates discussion on our team chat where people will start sort of saying their opinions, maybe, or you'll see that other people have the same speech topic as you, so maybe you'll want to avoid that one. It also gives or the third one is it gives other people ideas too. So maybe you talk about the stuck in the Suez Canal, and this makes someone think like, oh man, I actually have something similar to that, which would be really good. So maybe they don't choose stuck in the Suez Canal, but there's some other sort of significant event that's happened recently that they feel familiar with that they want to talk about. Okay, so just to rehash what we're doing, there's going to be three things. We're going to do the brainstorm the topics, choose our best three. We're going to add details and we're going to post them into our group chat. Okay, so I'm going to post this on Teams or on YouTube as a video right now. You're probably watching this actually. And then I'm also going to have it on Teams. So I hope this was helpful. And this is our start off to our speech topics.